Hi everybody, Fred here, and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to present you a list of questions that you should ask while interviewing a realtor, and one that you shouldn't. And it's all happening right here, right now. Let's do this. Now you're probably asking yourself, there are so many videos like this one, why should I watch yours? Well, for one thing, I'm not new to interviewing. In fact, I've interviewed hundreds of people throughout my career, so I know how to ask questions that will accurately assess the individual you're interviewing. I'll start by listing the set of 7 questions you should ask. Then, at the end of this video, I'll also touch on the one question you should not ask. So stick around. Let's begin by taking a step back. If you plan on buying or selling a property, you should interview several realtors before selecting the person that's right for you, because you will rely on this person to guide you through what will most likely be the most significant financial transaction of your life. It's really in your best interest to do so. Don't just go with any agent. No. Instead, you need to take the right approach and start by doing 3 things. 1. Research the realtors in your area. 2. Shortlist 3 to 5 agents. And then 3. Interview them. In this video, I'll assume you've already done your research and shortlisted a few candidates. And now it's time to interview them. If you're still in the research phase, don't worry. I have another video you'll want to watch that will provide you a step-by-step process for researching the best realtor in your area. I'll link it above and in the comments below. This is how it'll work. With each question I present, I'll tell you why you're asking the question. I'll highlight the purpose and, in effect, what it's measuring. And then I'll give you an idea of what you should look for in an answer. So let's get started. Question number 1. Tell me what you know about my neighborhood. This seems like a straightforward question, but in essence, it'll measure their preparation and organizational skills. What you're looking for here is a detailed and well thought out answer, not a generic one like you live in a great community with lush greenery and it's in high demand. Look for specifics. Take this answer for example. You live in a great neighborhood, which could be advantageous. The average price on your street is X dollars, compared to the average price of the entire neighborhood, which is X dollars. My research shows that demand is high because there are X number of schools in the area, which is why the neighborhood consists of 50% young professional couples with children. The schools attract young families, so our marketing techniques will push family-oriented highlights in hopes of pulling in this audience. With this answer, you immediately know that this agent took the time to prepare. Another thing you'll want to look for is if the agent knows the stats off the top of their head. If you hear or see them shuffling through papers for answers, well, this means that they may have done their research, but they're just not prepared or organized. Question number 2. Are you a full-time realtor or a part-time realtor? This question will measure their commitment, availability, and if you're a priority to them. Part-time realtors may not be a good fit, mainly due to their lack of availability. They may have pure intentions of being 100% dedicated to you as their client, but the reality is that they have other priorities and commitments in their full-time jobs, and you don't want to be in a position where your needs compete with their employers. Also, availability is crucial. You want someone that can pick up and go if need be. Real estate is highly time sensitive in both hot and cool markets. It doesn't matter what the market conditions are. You need someone to show you a house and put an offer together based on your timelines. And if your agent has a full-time job outside of real estate, then it'll be hard for them to accommodate your needs. The bottom line, you need someone that can work around your schedule, not vice versa. Your agent's focus should solely be on real estate, not another employer. Question 3. What is your support system like? Let's face it, there may be a chance that you ask a question to a realtor that they're not familiar with, or they're not able to answer it on the spot. So they'll need to investigate before providing you with an answer. So you'll want to know what system they have in place to find the right and precise answer. This will measure 2 things: organizational skills, and more importantly, their mindset. Do they have a proactive or reactive mindset? The answer you're looking for here is not just, oh, I'll ask a colleague. No, you're looking for a detailed, systematic approach and a sense that they've thought this through and are ready in case it happens. First, you want them to be honest with the fact that they don't know the answer, instead of just dancing around the question. Then you want to understand the process. This is what an ideal answer may sound like. My first step is to ask my broker manager, and once I get an answer from them, I'll then double check it with the resources I have on hand. For example, books and textbooks from my real estate courses as well as my professional designation courses. And once confirmed, then I'll take it to the real estate forums I belong to, comprised of multiple agents throughout this country. Here, I'll find out any interesting or new alternatives or approaches. Once I've exhausted all avenues, I will present you with valid and well-researched options, and then I'll make my recommendations accordingly. There you go. This proves that they've planned for the possibility of this happening, and they've devised a process to solve problems. This is someone who is proactive. A proactive mindset indicates that they'll most likely be ready to take on any obstacle or pitfall throughout the process, because they've thought it through well ahead of time. Question 4. What method of communication do you prefer? Pretty simple question, right? Wrong. The realtor you're interviewing should not answer this question with, "I'll use whichever method you prefer to communicate with." That's just a lazy answer. The ideal answer would have them list the methods they're comfortable with, like phone, email, text, FaceTime, Zoom, WhatsApp, etc. They then go on to explain that they're comfortable with any of these methods because they recognize how important it is for them to be available to their clients. The role as your realtor demands that they be accessible. So essentially, they can adapt and utilize any form of communication you, the client, prefer. Now, you'll also want to hear their human side. Reality is, there will be times that they're not reachable for whatever reason. For example, their daughter's first recital. These are once-in-a-lifetime moments that parents do not want to miss. So in this situation, you'll want to know that if you leave a message, it'll be handled once they're available, not 2 or 3 days later. Question number 5. What's your sales plan and how will you market my property? The answer you don't want to hear is that I'll take photos and I'll list them on MLS for everyone to see. Yes, this is a small part of the plan, but it should not be the entire plan. You need someone that'll have a detailed marketing strategy. The answer to this question should have certain keywords. And the keywords you're looking for are professional photos, 3D Matterport tour, virtual tour, landing page, custom URL, SEO optimization, paid social media ads, and both domestic and international reach. Even if you don't know what some of these words mean, don't worry. As long as you hear them and it's part of an agent's services, then you'll know that this person is tech savvy and is keeping up to date with today's modern and online marketing methods. And whatever you do, please do not settle for someone that takes photos with their mobile phone and only posts them to MLS. This is my biggest pet peeve. This is by far unacceptable in today's market. If you know of someone who does this and tries to justify it with, "It's going to sell anyways," stay away from them. You deserve better. You want someone who's current and will go the extra mile to present your home with a spectacular media portfolio with both a domestic and international reach. Okay, up until now, I presented just general questions, but now it's time for the knockout questions, the ones that dig a bit deeper and are more challenging. Okay, here we go. Question number 6. What courses have you taken above and beyond your required real estate courses and exams? In today's competitive landscape, realtors need to make an effort to separate themselves from the crowd. And one way of doing this is by obtaining professional designations through continuing education. There are so many courses out there that offer advancement in specialized areas, such as negotiations, land surveys, luxury homes, and even how to guide seniors through a real estate transaction. But these courses come at an additional cost, and in my opinion, they're worth every penny. You'll want to hire someone who has invested in such courses, because it's a sign of their commitment to providing their clients with the utmost service and representation. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of good agents out there who simply stopped at passing their required exams, and they still do a fine job. But I think you would agree that someone who has gone that extra mile to invest in themselves, to improve their skill sets, their knowledge, and their abilities is doing so that they can go that extra mile for you. This question almost always ruffles some feathers, as some people think it's too hard-hitting or unnecessary. If you feel that way, or if you support it, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And now for question 7. Why should I hire you? I love this question. Why? Because it measures one of the crucial things an agent will need to sell your property: sales skills. And you'll also get a sense of whether or not they're passionate about their career. This is a great question. They now need to sell themselves, which is a fair indication of how well they can sell your home. Now, this can go either way. It's either a time for them to shine, where you'll be utterly impressed and wowed, or on the other hand, you'll be like, eh. It's true, many agents prepare for this question, but you're not looking for something that's scripted. You'll be able to tell that right away. You want something that comes straight from the heart, something that communicates an undeniable passion. If you feel it's scripted, you may want to be cautious, as their intent may not be aligned with yours. You want someone that will work and provide guidance that is in your best interest, not their own. You'll also want to see some sense of enthusiasm. If someone answers this question in a monotone and stone-faced look, I love real estate, it's great. I've always wanted to be a real estate agent since I was a child. Okay, that was a bit exaggerated, but if the person lacks enthusiasm, then this may indicate that they're not great at conveying excitement, or even worse, not good at selling in general. Bottom line, if they can't sell themselves, then how on earth are they going to sell your home? It's a harsh statement, but it's true. Sorry, not sorry. There's no single correct answer to this question. It just needs to be genuine, heartfelt, and above all, convincing. If they check all three boxes, then that's a sign of a good salesperson who will most likely look out for your best interest. And now it's time for the question you should stay away from. But before we get into it, how are you enjoying this video so far? Are you finding it helpful? If so, then hit that subscribe button as I put out content like this every week. Here it is, the question you should stay away from. Why are you a realtor? I don't like this question. Make no mistake about it. Every realtor expects this question, and you'll most likely get a cookie cutter answer like, I love real estate, it's a passion, or I love helping people. Look, the truth is, those that got into this business with ill intentions, like lining their own pocketbook, aren't going to tell you that. But the good news is, you won't have to ask this question, because you'll already know the answer once you've asked the 7 questions I just went through. The questions I provided are designed so that you are learning the person's intentions, personality, and skills as you go along. By the end of it, you should have a feeling of whether or not this agent is the right fit for you. So choose someone you mesh with, and more importantly, someone you can trust throughout the entire process of buying and selling a home. If you do this, the results will lead to a much more pleasant and rewarding real estate experience. So that's it. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon.